What if I told you the person you think is distant might actually care deeply, but is holding it in out of fear, wounds, or pride? Here's the Stoic and Jungian truth. Love doesn't always speak with words. Sometimes it hides in silence, indirect actions, or guarded eyes. The deeper the emotion, the more someone may suppress it, especially if they fear rejection or losing control. Carl Jung taught that what's not brought to consciousness comes out as fate, and often the love someone won't express still leaks through subtle gestures. You just have to observe without needing and listen without forcing. Right now, you might feel confused by their mixed signals, but when you learn these 8 signs, you'll stop doubting your intuition and start seeing clearly through the silence. If you're ready to understand the quiet signs of hidden love, like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment. I trust the signs love leaves behind. Number 1. When love whispers, not shouts, the hidden language of a woman's heart. What if the most powerful form of love doesn't scream your name, but waits in silence, tucked beneath a quiet glance, a hesitation, or a half smile that lingers longer than it should? We're conditioned to think love must be loud to be real, grand gestures, obvious affection. But some of the deepest loves are cloaked in silence, hidden behind fears that have never found the words to speak. Imagine standing in a room where the only thing louder than silence is the beat of your own heart. That's the kind of love we often miss. A woman may not confess it, she may not even fully understand it, but her heart may already be in your hands, trembling, uncertain, yet hoping you can recognize its rhythm before it retreats again. In this world of noise and distraction, the subtle language of genuine affection is easily drowned out. Men often chase after clear signs, text messages, declarations, physical closeness. Yet the truth is this: the feminine heart often speaks in shadows, in pauses, in contradictions. Her love, when it's real, often begins with fear. Why? Because deep emotional investment makes her vulnerable, and vulnerability is terrifying. The Stoics understood this paradox. As Seneca said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. When love is blooming in the heart of a woman, her fear isn't always of you, but of being seen, truly seen, because to be seen is to risk being misunderstood, rejected, or hurt, and that fear creates a quiet resistance. But don't confuse that resistance with indifference. It is often a protective shell over something very rare and sacred. This is the lesson. The man who slows down enough to see these hidden signals becomes powerful, not by seduction, but by perception. He no longer plays games or waits for declarations. He recognizes love in her silence, in her inconsistencies, in her concern, her quiet loyalty, and her attempts to stay close without explanation. Stoicism teaches that mastery over the self leads to mastery over perception. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. In love, this means the wise man does not rush toward validation. He observes, he listens, he feels, he waits, not passively, but attentively. His strength is not in demanding answers, but in recognizing truth that cannot yet be spoken. So this video, this message, is not just about women. It's about you, the man who wants to understand what love looks like before it becomes obvious. You'll learn 8 emotional signs that a woman's heart has already chosen you, even if her lips haven't said it, and you'll learn how to receive that love without fear, manipulation, or pressure, but with calm presence and inner strength. Because true connection doesn't begin with control, it begins with clarity. So listen closely, not just to what she says, but to what her eyes, her presence, and her hesitation are trying to tell you. Beneath her silence might be the loudest love you'll ever encounter. Now, comment below. I listen beyond words. I recognize love in silence. Number 2. The loyalty you never asked for, how her silent actions reveal her heart. She doesn't make promises. She doesn't declare, "I'll always be there for you." But somehow, without ever saying it, she shows up, not just in your best moments, when celebration is easy, but in your most uncertain ones. And it's in these quiet appearances that her love speaks loudest. Loyalty isn't always a grand declaration. Sometimes it's a small shift in her schedule so she can sit beside you when life breaks a little. It's her checking in on you when others have turned away. It's her presence in moments where words would only get in the way. These gestures seem casual, almost too subtle to name, but they follow a pattern that doesn't seek credit or reciprocation, only connection. You might not notice it at first. Many men miss it entirely, looking for louder proofs, public admiration, romantic gestures, or repeated affirmations. But the feminine heart, when it's genuinely attached, often speaks in nuance. She might not call it love, and she may even fight the word internally, but emotionally, she's already by your side. Not because you asked her to be, but because she chose to be. And here's the paradox. The more genuine her feelings, the less likely she is to perform them for an audience. Because real affection has no need for display. It exists to support, not to be seen. When a woman quietly stays when chaos arises, without needing to fix or control, it's her subconscious loyalty revealing itself. The Stoics saw virtue not as performance, but as presence. As Epictetus noted, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Likewise, she doesn't explain her feelings, she embodies them. Her love is not loud, but it is consistent, not showy, but stable. She listens, she notices, she sacrifices comfort without complaint. This kind of loyalty is dangerous in the best way, because it can pierce through your emotional armor before you realize you've let someone in. And when you do, you realize you're no longer walking alone. You have a quiet witness to your growth, your struggles, and your truth. The man who lives with Stoic awareness won't ignore these signs. He sees beyond surface gestures and honors what is not said. He responds not with suspicion or entitlement, but with calm recognition. He doesn't take her presence for granted. He deepens it through mutual care. So if there's someone who always seems to just be there, even when it's inconvenient, don't dismiss it. She might be loving you already, quietly, fiercely, without needing a single word. Now, comment below. I honor what's unspoken. Real love doesn't need to shout. Number 3, hot and cold, or just afraid to fall. Understanding her emotional inconsistency. One moment, she's glowing. Her laughter lights up the room. Her eyes lock with yours like they've found something familiar. The next moment, she turns distant, quiet, unreadable, and you're left wondering, did I do something wrong? Here's a truth many men miss. Emotional inconsistency isn't always a sign of manipulation or disinterest. More often, it's a reflection of an internal battle, a tug of war between the deep desire to connect and the terrifying fear of being hurt. When a woman feels something real, something that could matter, it awakens every scar she's ever carried. And when those wounds whisper warnings, she retreats, not because she doesn't care, but because she cares too much. Her silence isn't rejection, it's caution. Her coldness isn't detachment, it's self-defense. Love, for many women, is not a straight path. It's a maze of memory, fear, hope, and pride. And when she sends mixed signals, she may not even realize she's doing it. She's trying to navigate feelings that are louder than logic and stronger than comfort. Stoic philosophy teaches us to remain calm amid emotional storms, not to deny them, but to observe and understand them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In love, this means we don't react to every emotional shift. We remain centered, aware that what looks like confusion might actually be vulnerability in disguise. When a woman is emotionally inconsistent, she is often asking you something she cannot say out loud. Can I trust you with my heart? She's watching your patience, your steadiness, your response to discomfort, because how you handle her fear tells her whether she's safe to move closer or wise to step away. This is not an invitation to tolerate chaos, but it is a call to recognize what's real beneath the noise. Her warmth is real. Her withdrawal is real too. Together, they reveal not game playing, but a heart that's afraid to lose control. So instead of pulling away or demanding clarity too soon, hold the space. Show her you don't flinch in uncertainty. Let your presence say what words cannot. I see your fear, and I'm not here to exploit it, but to understand it. Because sometimes the most profound kind of love is not about pursuit. It's about patience. Now, comment below. I respond with calm. I lead with presence, not pressure. Number 4. When her emotions speak before she can, the power hidden in her reactions. She says she's fine, but her tone is colder than usual. She shrugs off your plans, but her eyes look disappointed. She gets irritated when you mention another woman's name. Even in passing, you're left trying to decode her words, when the real truth lies in her reactions. Many men misinterpret emotional reactivity as immaturity or drama, but in the context of hidden affection, these emotional sparks aren't manipulation. They're signs of a woman who feels deeply but isn't ready to confess it. She cares, but doesn't know how to admit it without feeling exposed. So her emotions slip through the cracks before her pride can seal them shut. This might show up as small flashes of jealousy, subtle coldness, or even passive-aggressive humor. You might notice she changes the subject when you talk about someone else, or her mood drops when she thinks she's being replaced. These are not signs of weakness. They're proof that you've touched something in her that she can't quite manage. Yet, Carl Jung spoke of the shadow self, the parts of us that are real but hidden, even from our own conscious minds. For many women, love lives in this shadow space. It emerges in unguarded moments and emotional slips, and because it feels risky, they try to push it back down. But if you're paying attention, you'll see it flicker in her tone, her tension, and her timing. The Stoic response here is not to mock, manipulate, or recoil, but to observe without being pulled under. A Stoic man sees emotion as data, not disorder. He recognizes that reactivity often means investment, that behind the sting of irritation is the vulnerability of someone who cares more than she wants to. Responding with calm strength, acknowledging her emotion without escalating it, creates emotional safety. It tells her, you're allowed to feel, I'm not running. And over time, that stability helps her drop the mask. It turns tension into trust. So don't be fooled by the surface. What looks like moodiness may be the only way she knows how to say, you matter to me. And the man who can hear that beneath the noise, he doesn't chase validation. He creates connection. Now, speak out and comment below. I stay grounded. I hear the emotion behind the silence. Number 5, she listens differently. When she cares, the language hidden in her silence. In a world filled with noise, the deepest kind of attention doesn't come through grand gestures or flattery. It arrives in quiet listening. And if you've ever spoken to a woman who remembers the hesitation in your voice more than the words you used, you've already seen this form of hidden love at work. When a woman cares deeply, she tunes in, not just to your words, but to your tone, pauses, and energy. She notices the sigh you didn't mean to let out. She asks about something you only mentioned in passing a week ago. She tracks the emotional texture of your stories, not just the headlines. This is not passive hearing. It's presence. It's priority. True listening is an act of devotion, and it's incredibly rare. That's why it stands out when it happens. When she turns her phone face down, when her eyes soften while you speak, when she follows up on the emotion you tried to hide behind humor. These are not casual acts. They are investments of her attention, and attention is the currency of love. You might think she's just a good listener, but ask yourself, does she offer the same level of focus to everyone? Likely not. because this level of awareness comes from emotional resonance. When a woman's heart is quietly involved, your emotional world becomes part of hers. She listens not out of obligation, but out of connection. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." A woman in love absorbs the emotional color of the man she's drawn to. She becomes sensitive to your peace, your tension, your joy, often before you've acknowledged it yourself. That's why her listening feels like a mirror. You see more of yourself in her silence than in your own reflection. The Stoic man recognizes this subtle form of care. He doesn't overlook it while searching for dramatic proof. He values the stillness, the unspoken, the warmth of a gaze that doesn't need to be loud to be loyal. So if she listens differently, if she asks the kind of questions that reveal she truly sees you, don't ignore it. That's not politeness. That's not curiosity. That's care, hidden beneath calm. Because when a woman listens to you with her full presence, she's offering something rare, a place for your truth to rest. Now, comment below. I value presence over performance. I know who truly listens. Number 6, the details she remembers, when her heart stores your words. It's easy to miss the small things. A favorite coffee order, the way you wince when you talk about your father, that offhand joke you made 3 weeks ago about wanting to learn the guitar. But when a woman quietly stores these fragments of you and brings them back without being asked, you are not just in her thoughts, you're in her heart. Memory is not random. The brain retains what the heart values. So when she recalls the little things you barely noticed yourself saying, it's not a coincidence, it's emotional investment. It's a subtle but profound form of affection, because she's not memorizing data, she's preserving meaning. In Stoic terms, this is a practice of mindful attention, but with a twist of sentiment. She's not trying to impress you, she's already impressed by you, and her way of honoring that connection isn't with showy declarations, but with the quiet discipline of remembrance. That's love in its most stoic form, measured, deep, and consistent. Imagine this. You're halfway through a conversation and she suddenly says, "Didn't you once mention that your mom used to make soup when you were sick?" Or maybe she brings you a specific book you once admired, or jokes about something personal you'd long forgotten. That's not flirtation. That's recognition. That's a heart that's paying attention to your soul, not your surface. Carl Jung suggested that what is most personal is also most universal. So when she remembers a tiny thing about you, she's reaching toward something universal, the desire to make someone feel seen. And in a world that often ignores subtlety, her attention is a rare form of intimacy. Don't overlook it. Don't brush it off as she's just thoughtful. No, she's emotionally invested. Her memory isn't functioning as a filing cabinet. It's acting as a sanctuary, quietly collecting the parts of you she doesn't want to forget. A woman who remembers the details is a woman who's already giving pieces of her heart, one memory at a time. Now, comment below. I see the love behind the little things. Number 7, when she tries to stay close, the subtle pull of unspoken affection. She doesn't always say she misses you, but she finds reasons to see you again. Maybe it's a casual invite to a group hangout. Maybe it's a text asking for your opinion on something minor. Maybe it's a voice note just to say she thought of you when she saw something random. On the surface, these gestures may seem ordinary, but beneath them lies something deeper, the quiet ache of someone who feels too much to stay away and too afraid to fully show it. When a woman is emotionally invested, distance becomes uncomfortable. She doesn't need a crisis or a grand excuse. She simply seeks your presence, not to control you, not to overwhelm you, but to anchor herself near something that brings her peace and emotional resonance. This longing often reveals itself in spontaneous moments, a sudden need to share a funny video, a comment about an old memory, or subtle concern about your day. She doesn't say, "I need you." She shows it through small bridges that keep the connection alive. And it's not about dependency, it's about proximity, the way you make her feel when you're near. Even a short silence from you creates an echo she doesn't like, so she leans in, not out of insecurity, but because her emotional center has started to gravitate toward you. Her heart is adjusting its orbit. The Stoic lens teaches us to observe without overreacting, to look beneath actions and understand intentions. And in this case, the intention is tenderness, not manipulation, not attention-seeking, but the instinctive pull toward what feels safe, warm, and real. In romantic Stoicism, this is where your discernment matters. You don't mistake her closeness for neediness. You don't mock the little messages or the gentle questions. Instead, you respect the courage it takes to stay close without confessing too much. You respond not with excessive enthusiasm, nor cold withdrawal, but with calm acknowledgement. I see you, and I'm still here. Because often, the ones who care most deeply are also the ones who speak least loudly. Their love is a quiet pursuit, and only the man who understands emotional nuance can recognize it for what it is, a heart that's trying to reach you without overwhelming you. Now, speak out and comment below. I recognize the love in quiet closeness. Number 8, her silent shield. How protection reveals the depth of her love. She doesn't declare war on your enemies. She doesn't boast about standing up for you. But when the world bruises you, when life goes quiet and you start to fade into yourself, she appears, not loudly, not dramatically. She just appears. And in her quiet presence, something changes. You feel protected. This kind of emotional protection isn't flashy. It's instinctual. A woman whose heart has quietly aligned with yours doesn't need a reason to care when you're hurting. She feels it. When you're overwhelmed, she lightens the load without being asked. When you're discouraged, she offers silence, not to ignore, but to let your spirit breathe. She becomes attuned to your subtle shifts, the tension in your jaw, the way your tone changes when you say, "I'm fine." And though she might not press, she adjusts her energy to hold space for you. Sometimes it's a kind word. Sometimes it's food left outside your door. Sometimes it's simply staying close when she could have walked away. This is not obligation. This is not duty. This is care, raw, wordless, instinctual care. From a Stoic perspective, her protection reveals courage, not only to stay when it's inconvenient, but to love without demanding acknowledgement. True love is revealed not in comfort, but in adversity, when a woman chooses to stay present in your darkest hours, not because she has to, but because she wants to. Her heart is no longer on the outside. It's invested. She may never say, "I love you" first. She might still mask her feelings behind sarcasm or casual remarks. But if she's quietly shielding your peace, easing your stress, or watching over you when no one else notices, you are more than just someone she likes. You are home. Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." In love, her protective instinct isn't just about saving you. It's about merging her calm with your storm. It's how transformation begins. Do not overlook the woman who protects your peace without asking for credit. She's not just kind. She's quietly committed. And in a world full of self-interest, that kind of loyalty is rare and worth everything. Now, comment below. I see the strength in her silence. You came here questioning what their silence really means. Now, you know, they might love you, but that love is battling fear. When someone remembers your smallest details, finds reasons to be near, but won't open up, protects you subtly, but keeps emotional distance. Gets jealous but hides it. Looks at you longer than they should. Withdraws after deep moments. Listens carefully, but speaks carefully too. And never really lets you go. They're not indifferent, they're overwhelmed. And that's not your burden to fix. The Stoic man doesn't chase, he reads, he respects. He offers presence, but never begs for expression. Carl Jung reminded us, The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. But transformation only happens when both are ready. If you're ready to hold space for real connection without losing your peace, like this video, subscribe, and comment. I love with awareness, not attachment. Stay calm, stay open, because real love always reveals itself. It just takes a silent mind to hear it.